If you're watching this video, you are probably someone who needs to hire a designer or a web developer or maybe even an agency to build your next web project, whether it's a normal basic website or a bigger e-commerce project or whatever it is. There are so many different options out there. You can go with the cheap designer developer from Fiverr. You can go with a freelancer. You can go with a more expensive agency that promises you the world. I'm going to look at some of the red flags, what should you be aware of, and what's something that you should, some of the things that you should look out for when choosing the person you're going to work with. So basically, that's what I'm going to talk about now. Let's get into it. Before you even hire someone, you need to ask yourself this question. Do I even need a website? And yes, that sounds like a pretty weird question now that you already decided you need a website and everyone is telling you that you definitely need a website. But maybe actually you don't. Maybe you just need whatever is good for your business. It depends on your business, it depends on your goals, and it depends on your audience as well. So for example, if you have a big social media following already and your audience is into social media, maybe an Instagram account is more than enough to showcase your products. Maybe if you just need to collect leads, maybe a simple landing page is more than enough to get people's email addresses and you can send emails to them with offers and stuff like that. Or maybe if you're into e-commerce, you want to sell stuff online, maybe you can just go with a pre-built system like Shopify. That's something that already set up. It's pretty basic and it's pretty easy to use. And a lot of people actually use it already. But if you want full control over your website, your e-commerce site, and you want scalability and you want to future-proof it with long-term flexibility, then a custom website is the way to go for you. So a developer or agency, they're not only here to build the site that you want them to build for you. They are also functioning as a consultant. They will ask you different questions. They will try to challenge your own ideas and assumptions and ask you why you even need a website in the first place, because as we just talked about, maybe you don't. So a good developer will go ahead and find out what you actually need and help you research a lot of different things before you actually get started building anything. So how do you spot a good developer from a bad one? Well, first you have to ask yourself if they are asking you the right questions. So if a developer just says, yes, I can do that without any questions, that's the first very big red flag, because they don't know anything about you. They don't know anything about your business and what you're trying to accomplish. So I see that all the time on different forums and on Facebook groups where you can hire freelancers, that someone just asks, can someone help me build this website? And the first, a lot of people just say, yes, I can help with that without actually getting into any questions. The answer should probably be, it depends. I can try to help you. I'll talk to you and we'll figure out some of the things together. So a real professional will ask you, what is the website for? What is the purpose of your website? And what is your audience? Who are they? What are you trying to accomplish? And are there some features that we can implement first and maybe some other features that you don't need until later? How do you measure your success? What are your success criteria for a new website? A bad developer will build whatever you tell them to, even if it's the wrong solution. And that's not good. A good developer is someone who asks you these questions and help you anticipate your future needs and things like that. So this is a very important step. Do they ask the right questions? The next question you should ask is if the developer you're considering hiring can actually code. Now, every project doesn't really need deep coding skills, but it's good to know the fundamentals. It's good to hire someone who actually knows the fundamentals. If the developer you're thinking about hiring only knows how to use a page builder and they have no clue or idea about what's going on behind the scenes, that's a red flag too. You should ask them about if they know HTML, CSS, JavaScript, maybe PHP, or at least if they know the fundamentals. You should also ask them about if they know how to optimize a website for performance. Do they know about SEO, search engine optimization? Do they know about accessibility and speed and security and all these kinds of things that are very important as well? Customization is also pretty important. Can they build something that is scalable and something you can build upon in the future, or do they just use a pre-built template that you can't really build upon? Another question you need to ask yourself is if it's a custom build or if it's based upon a template. A template is not necessarily bad. It can be a good choice just for a smaller and simple website, but there are some things that you need to look into. If your developer don't know how to customize a template, you might end up with something that looks like everyone else's. So you're going to have a website with a template that is being used on thousands of other websites. So you're not going to get a unique looking website. A well-built website should be scalable and maintainable. And that means that, for example, if you're going to change your brand colors at some point, you don't want to go around on different pages and change the color of 50 different buttons here and there. You want it to be scalable and maintainable. So you want to be able to go in and change a few variables here and there, and then all of the colors of those buttons and your brand colors are going to change everywhere. The tints, the shades that you have set up from that. So that's very important. Otherwise, it can take a long time and it's going to be very expensive to go in and change stuff like that. So that's another thing you really have to look out for, that it's scalable and maintainable. Let's talk about price and why good work costs more. This is where a lot of businesses make some mistakes. They look for the cheapest developer they can find and they think they're going to save money. But the truth is, in the most cases, they actually end up paying way more in the long run. When you pay for a good developer, you're not only paying for coding skills, you're also paying for problem solving skills and knowledge about SEO and knowledge about maintainability and scalability. I know I say that a lot, but it's it's extremely important. Who owns your website? That's a very important question. Do you actually own your own website? And I'm asking this because a lot of people, they buy into systems such as Wix or Webflow or Shopify, where they are locked into that system, into that platform. And you can't just move to another server. You can't move to another host. And maybe these companies are going to change their terms of services in the future. Maybe you don't like that. Maybe they're going to change their prices. All of that stuff. It can end up getting very expensive and you can't really migrate to another host. You have to start from scratch if you want to do that. So I think it's a very good idea to go with an open source system, just like WordPress or another open source system, because you're not locked in. You have full control and you can add these little different plugins and different functionality that suits exactly what you want, which maybe you cannot do with some of the other players such as Wix or Shopify. So that's pretty important that you think about that as well. Can you trust the agency that you're going to work with? Unfortunately, sometimes the answer is no. And this is a big problem in the industry. And that's something I see all the time. Sometimes these agencies are only thinking about making money, getting you as a customer, and then they're going to lock you into this contract for maybe 3, 4, 5 years, where they're going to do all of the updates. They are going to provide the hosting for your website, and they probably even, or some of them even, have an exit fee that you have to pay a crazy amount of money just to get your handcuffs off, you could say, so you can move to another hosting provider if that's what you want, or you can go to another developer if you need another developer to do something on that project. So this is something you should really be aware of, and this is something that I have experienced as well, where people have come to me and said, "Oh, I signed this contract with this company, and it's a problem now because they are not doing the work they should. They were very good in the beginning when they first built the website, but after a couple of years, they don't really care so much anymore. They don't pick up the phone anymore, and also I'm not allowed to go somewhere else. I can't host my website elsewhere." Maybe they have slow servers. Maybe you want to go ahead and host your website elsewhere, but maybe you have to pay a crazy amount of money just to as an exit fee so you can move on to other things. So please be aware of that. Ask them before you start working with them, before you sign a contract. If you can host your own website, not host your own website, but if you can select your own hosting provider, maybe you don't need them. If you can, if you own your own website, even though they made it. So that's really important as well. Support, documentation, and future updates. Really important things that you have to consider, because when you get a new website, it's not going to take care of itself. You're going to need updates, you're going to need maintenance, and it's kind of like buying a new car. You have to change the oil and the tires once in a while for it to function properly. It's the same thing with the website. So you have to ask your agency or developer if they provide documentation. Are they going to tell you about how they have built the website? Is another developer going to easily take over this project if the developer you have chosen just disappears all of a sudden? Are they going to offer you training, like video training, so you can update the site yourself? All those different kinds of questions are really important, because you can end up with a website that you don't know how to use, and then what's the point of it? Of course, you can pay someone to update every little single thing for you, but it's really important that you're able to do some of the work yourself. So again, maintainability, scalability, that the website is built properly so another developer can take over if your current developer disappears or something like that. That's really important. So think about that, please. I'm going to tell you a few real life stories about when a project just goes wrong because you hired the wrong developer. And this is actually something that happened to me recently, or it didn't happen to me, but someone came to me with some different stories. I have two of them. The first one was the DIY project. This was a woman that called me up pretty late at night and said she sounded very panicky, and she just needed someone to help with her website right now, because he was going to be featured in a very important magazine and her website just wasn't ready to go live yet. The thing was that she had built her own website from scratch. She had spent a lot of time on learning how to use WordPress and Elementor, I think it was, and she had come a long way, and she had done some pretty okay work, but she was building everything on templates, and she had no idea that you should limit the amount of plugins and things like that. So the site was kind of a mess. So I had a look at it. I got a login and I had a look at it, and I can see everything was a mess. Everything was not set up the right way. It was not scalable. It was not maintainable. And I thought that it would just take too much time to just go and fix whatever it was. So my suggestion had to be that either we start from scratch, but it's not going to be doable in 2 weeks. We need to do some research first. We have to find out exactly what it is that you need. So yeah, that was kind of interesting. I also gave her another option, like that we could just make a landing page to begin with, where she could get leads, that people who were interested in buying her stuff later on, that they would get an email to let them know when the site was going to be live. My second story is a little bit different. That's another client or potential client that came to me and said, I hired this developer. We've been going back and forth on this stuff for 6 months now, and nothing is really happening. And now the developer is like ghosting me, and they're not picking up my phone calls anymore, and I can't get in touch with them. And they have actually said that they gave up on the project. You can still take the project as is if you can fix it and if you can make it work. So I got a login for the website, and I could see that everything was a mess. This person obviously had no idea what they were doing. They had their own agency, and they had a nice template website, agency website, that looked okay. Not great, but okay. And so it looked on the surface like they were professionals, but the customer didn't know anything about this, and she hadn't asked the questions that I've been going through in this video. I had to tell the client as well here, I'm not going to take over this project. This is not your best interest. We have to, if we're going to do something, we have to start from scratch, and we have to ask all of these different questions to find out what you actually need, because you didn't even know that, and the developer hadn't asked these questions. My final thoughts on this: a great developer and a great agency is not only here to build your website and do whatever you tell them to do, they also function as a consultant, and they help you make the right decisions and point you in the right direction. Another thing I didn't mention in this video is that you should probably ask for references. If you can actually go ahead and contact some of their clients, some of the clients that they have built websites for before. If it's a good developer, if it's a great developer, an agency, they're not afraid to point you to their clients that they've built websites for before. You can have a talk with them and talk to them about how is this agency to work with, or the developer. How does everything function? Are they happy with the result and the way that they work together? All those kinds of things. So that's a pretty good idea as well, to go out and actually seek information from real people who have been customers of this developer that you're choosing to work with. All this being said, if you hire the right person or agency from the beginning, you're going to save yourself a lot of time and stress and money. So go ahead and do your research. Thank you for watching, and see you next time. Bye.